Okay, so hello everybody. Hi, darling. Hi, my Minerva. Will you
Hello,
please
Agnes.
say hello to our French readers? Darling, you will.
Bon, bonjour to, is it mon lire, my readers?
Mes lectrices.
Ah, see, I told you, international incidents when I try to speak French, but I'm glad we're all here.
Hi there. Greetings from New Mexico. I won't try to speak French.
Okay, okay. Well, can you perhaps introduce yourself for our readers?
Sure. I write under a couple of pen names, but in France, I think I'm only translated under Minerva Spencer, Regency Romance. I can never tell what the series are called over there, but in the US, it's called The Outcasts, and the first 4 books are in French. I guess I write racier, more kind of steamy romance. And then under my other pen name, SM La Violette, I write even steamier romance. Third pen name, as if that isn't enough, and SM Goodwin, and I write historical mysteries with no romance. So.
Okay, great.
Greetings.
And Darlene?
I'm on the other side of the United States from Minerva. I'm in North Florida, and I write Regency era romance, which is not quite the same as Regency. It's not set in ballrooms in London, but my stories have a lot of pirates in them. And I picked up on the pirates because of Florida history, which I love. And I really enjoy sharing what was going on in the Regency era in Florida and the Caribbean, because there was a lot of excitement, a lot of piracy, a lot of back and forth between the world powers. And it's great fun to research and write those stories, especially because with my job, I can go to the beach and call it research. And I like that part of it. And Jaloux. I was published in France last year by Jaloux Publishing, Jaloux Porel. And I have 3 books out now in France, part of my High Seas series. The 4th book will be out later this year. And they're connected. They're about different people in different places in Florida and the Caribbean whose lives cross paths. And so the 4th book, which will be coming out later this year, What the Parrot Saw, which
I love that title. I love that so much.
Well, it was fun to work on that book. In France, I believe it's going to be called The Pirate's Daughter, but it pulls together all the different storylines with a little bit of characters from each book. So the High Seas series, and I love seeing reviews and email from readers in France. And I'm even happier that we have translate programs now so that I can read what everybody's saying. Thank you for that.
Great. So my first topic was the enduring success of historical romance. Donc, which one of you would like to give a statement about the market of historical romance?
Minerva, you go first.
Oh, you want me to go first? Okay.
Sure.
It's definitely had its ups and downs over the years. I do think that in the last, does your dog read Regency romance?
Love it.
I do think it's having kind of a renaissance now, just because of the amazing diversity of books being published. I mean, for a long time, it was just kind of white men and women who are heterosexual. And now, I mean, there's just so much stuff coming out every day. I think it's really revivifying what was kind of a stagnant subgenre. So I'm excited.
Great.
I have to agree that the diversity in historical romance now has benefited all of us as writers and as readers. I know that when writing my own books, of course, if I'm writing about historical Florida, I'm writing about people of all colors, of all backgrounds, of it's not just white men and women. In fact, far from it. They would have been in the minority. So it's nice for me to be able to bring those characters forward and tell their stories. And as Minerva said, not all of them are heterosexual. And it's exciting to share those stories as well, to, you know, open up that historical times were our times too. It was not this fantasy world where we had people who did not look like us, did not act like us. In many ways, they were just like us, and telling their stories is timeless. We do have ups and downs. The Regency romance era has gone through a lot of changes in terms of what publishers want, what readers want, and what their expectations are when they open up a historical romance. But at the end of the day, it has to have a happy ever after or happy for now, if we're going to call it romance. And following the journey of two characters to reach that HEA or happy for now is what brings readers back over and over again. One of my favorite explanations of the enduring appeal of romance as a genre is it's kind of like jazz. There's a lot of improvisation and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it all has to come together and it all has to be cohesive. And I think that we bring that to our stories and that our readers appreciate that.
Great. It's very interesting since our next subject is the great success of the Bridgerton TV series. And of course, the very surprising thing was that characters of color are in this TV series. So what's your take on the Bridgerton? Did you like it? Did you love it? Minerva, perhaps.
Yes. Well, I mean, obviously for our subgenre, it's fantastic because people, I think, who wouldn't have come anywhere near, you know, who only associated it with Georgette Heyer, for example. I love Georgette Heyer, but, you know, she stopped writing in the 70s. So, you know, I think Julia Quinn's outlook is definitely reflects the fresher, newer historical romance. And, you know, the production values are amazing. I mean, the sets are beautiful. The actors are beautiful. It's just, I mean, it's just like a giant confection that you can't help but consume. So I think it's great. I mean, it's going to pull in a lot of people already, I think, that just wouldn't have picked up one of our books. So I can't wait for more authors to be made into. I mean, I would love to see some of Mary Bellows or Lisa Kleypas, or I mean, there's so many series that would be great, even if it's just movies. I mean, I've wondered for years why they don't, instead of remaking Jane Austen, you know, which is great, but there are so many other romantic stories that I think are waiting to be told. So
I read an article about Shonda Rhimes, and she said that she was amazed that nobody had taken the romance genre for adaptations into movies or television series, because she says it's such a great genre, and she herself was amazed that nobody had thought that it was a great genre for adaptations.
Yeah, she's a visionary, and I think she's going to do great. So
yeah, and it took somebody with her power, her pull in Hollywood to be able to make this happen. I'm sure that there are lots of people in the past who have pitched the idea of a romance series or more romance novels being turned into movies who were shot down, probably by men who control the studios, because where are the car chases? Where are the explosions? You know, where are the things that are going to bring in moviegoers? And she has shown us very effectively that when you put beautiful people in beautiful clothes on beautiful sets on the screen, there is an audience that will watch that over and over again. And it's funny to me because just today, I was out somewhere and Bridgerton came up in conversation, and the woman next to me did not know I'm a romance writer. And she was complaining that the stars from the first season will not be back in the second season and how awful that is. I said, we knew that was going to happen. When you read the books, you know that each book is about a different family member, because in romance, the story essentially ends when the couple is together and happy. That's your happily ever after. Simon and Daphne, they're going on to live their lives, HEA or HFN. And now it's time to tell other stories. So I think that a lot of viewers are being introduced to the conventions of romance that may not have been exposed to it before. But there's also a saying in English, I don't know if it's universal, but a rising tide floats all boats, which means that because of the huge success of Bridgerton, we're hopeful that that rising tide of their success will bring other romance authors' books to the attention of movie makers, of streaming services, so that we may see more authors get their works put out there for a viewing audience. I would love to see that happen.
Yeah, sure, sure. Hi, Anne. Thank you so much to join us.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Just to add to what Darlene said, a friend of mine, Barbara Hannay, who writes for Harlequin, as well as Penguin Australia, has had one of her Harlequins made into a movie. What's it called? Molly Cooper's Dream Date. I'll send you a link afterwards. Yeah, so it's a positive move. I agree with you, Darlene. I think so many people I know who don't normally read romance have watched Bridgerton and are finding it quite interesting. I've got a quote from Julia Quinn on the covers of some of my books, and my tax agent, who's a woman, said, "Oh, Julia Quinn, Bridgerton, I like that." And before that, I don't think she would have even dreamed of reading a romance. So it's fantastic, I think. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Anyway, I will shut up now. I'm a bit overexcited because I just...
No, it's great. It's great. I wanted to come back to what Darlene said about the fact that people were surprised that the couple would not be present in the second season of the show, and we were quite amazed too, because some books have been made into a series, like Virgin River and Sweet Magnolias and Chesapeake Shores, and they do not respect that rule of romance, that the first season sees one couple, and at the end of the season the couple is married or together, and then in the second season there's another couple, and they don't respect that. And many romance readers in French say, well, we don't like that, because we read romance, we want to watch romance with an end at the end of the season. And that's the first time that within a series it ends at the end of the season. Really, the romance is finished at the end of the season, and it surprises people who don't know romance, and it's normal for people who read romance.
Yes. Yeah, I think, see, Virgin River, you still see this sort of main couples, that's a community. And the Bridgerton books do that, but I think it was a big mistake to let him go myself.
Yeah.
Yes, but he may be the next James Bond.
That's probably it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the rumor. And I can see stepping aside from Bridgerton to do that. So, but I'm also really looking forward to seeing the rest of the characters and their story arcs and their stories come forward. The next season is filming now, I'm told, so it should be very exciting. And I would like to see more of it. But hopefully for the rest of us, people will continue to buy our books. I know that I've talked with a lot of readers who have said that they read a great deal of historical romance this past year. They did not want to read contemporary. They wanted to read from a different time when they know things worked out because we're here now, if that makes sense. You know, as awful as the Napoleonic Wars were for the people living through them, eventually they ended. And that may be part of the appeal of our particular period. It was a time of great upheaval and a time of great change, as we're living through now. But people survived. They got through it, and they made marriages, and they had families. So that may be part of the appeal of it. All I know is that my book seemed to have done pretty well this past year, better than I expected, actually.
Me too.
Do you have the same take on the market, Anne?
I think it's a gentler escape to go into a historical romance than to go, even though most of the contemporary romances, I think, are avoiding the whole COVID thing. But it's still, I think it's a gentler escape into something, a different world. And yeah, I think it's just fun.
Okay, sure. Okay, so maybe we can speak about your latest release in France. Minerva, I think your latest release is Un soir au jardin d'hiver, which was notorious in English.
Yeah, that was a beautiful cover. I don't have a copy of it, unfortunately. It hasn't made it over here yet, but that was the, it was originally sold to be part of the first series that is in French. And so I think that the French publisher decided to keep it with the first series, and it fits. It features the adult son of one of the characters from the first books. And
actually, I think they did a change of the title of the series. I think
did they?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And they published it as a first book of the new series, but readers know that it's related to the other series.
See, I think it's funny that so many viewers are unhappy about not seeing the same characters, because I kind of get a mixed response from readers. Some readers love to visit with characters from prior books, and some readers just really don't want to hear about it. And I don't know what that means. I mean, I usually like to hear about them, I guess, if they take up too much of the story. But anyway, they may need to alter that formula if they're going to keep filming romance novels in a series. I suspect that they'll have to include a little bit more. But yeah, did I answer that question?
Yeah, so it's the beginning of a new series. How many books will there be in this new series?
There are 3, and like I said, they're the children of the heroes and heroines in the first series. So you've been introduced to them as a reader. My last book that I'm just getting out to my publisher now is takes place 10 years later than any of these, because the twins in that book, when they were introduced, were still young. So I got to let them catch up a little bit, okay, age-wise. But that was fun, you know. And it's, at this point, I feel really comfortable. This is my first series, so I did a lot of mistakes, and I wrote myself into corners left, right, and center. And now I know not to do that anymore. So
okay,
I did learn. Yeah.
So could you tell us a bit about the characters and the plot of this new book?
Yes, that one is the son of the heroine in the first book, and the whole theme of actually all my romances for that publisher is focusing on people who don't fit into society. So all of the heroes and heroines are, I guess several of them don't have titles, so that's a little bit unusual, although I know people do write them. It does seem to be the Duke decade, though, when it comes to reader preference. In any event, the first 2 heroes, for example, were privateers. So not pirates, but I guess pirates for the government, but
Legalized,
not as
yeah.
exciting as
It depends who's doing the name calling.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So anyway, the hero in Notorious is having a hard time fitting in. He's originally from Oran, which is in North Africa, and he's had to make a decision. His family moves to Britain, and so for him, the decision is pretty momentous. At that period in time, he really had to make a choice whether he would, follow his North African roots or kind of follow his family that is settling in Britain. So that was an interesting topic. And he's compromised along with the heroine. And so it's a marriage of convenience, which is definitely I like to put people in a miserable circumstance and watch how they react.
Minerva, thank you for this view of the Notorious, and perhaps we can go to Anne with well, actually the title of the series is Marriage of Convenience, so there's a smooth transition between Minerva and Anne. And it's the third book in the series called Mon Amoureux, My Lover in French. Marry in Secret is the original title.
Yes, that's a marriage. I'm very much in favor of the marriage of convenience. Yeah, I like, I'd like to see people thrown together and then have to kind of sort things out. This story actually came about. I had a slightly different plan for the story, but I started that series with Marry in Haste, and then Marry in Scandal, and then it's quite hard to come up with Marry in titles. That
Yeah.
and a friend of mine said, "What about Marry in Secret?" And I said, "Oh, great title, but I can't see it working." And then I thought about it, and I thought, actually, my heroine was very naughty in boarding school. And there was a time when she, because of measles or something, mumps, or I can't remember what, going through the school, she and her sister were sent to the aunts, and the younger sister was very ill. And so nobody was really supervising this girl. And I thought, oh, I can make it Marry in Secret. And yeah, so that was a lot of fun, just realizing that, I had left that possibility. So yeah.
And Darlene, your latest book in French is coming this in March. It came out in March, and it's the third in the IT series, the Pirate Secret, Un Forban au Grand Cœur.
I'm glad you said it and not me. Un Forban au Grand Cœur. Yes. The original title was The Pirate's Secret Baby. And the way that came about was my second book, which came out in France, which is this one with this absolutely gorgeous cover by J. Lou, Cours au Large. The villain was a pirate. And when I wrote him into the book, I had so much fun with him. I needed to give him his own book. And many years ago, I heard somebody say, if you want to redeem a villain, throw a puppy or a baby at him. If he catches it, he's redeemable. If he sneers and lets it fall to the ground, he's still the villain.
Yeah.
So I took my villain from Cours au Large, from Castaway Dreams, and threw a baby at him. And he caught it. And the baby's actually an 8-year-old daughter that he never knew he had. And one day a governess shows up at the brothel where he's having some rest and recreation, fortunately when he's not in the midst of it. And the governess says, here, this is your daughter. She's your responsibility. I'm leaving because the mother has passed away. And so Robert, who is totally at sea about the idea of taking care of a baby or a little girl, kidnaps the governess because he's a pirate, so that she so that she can take care of the baby, the child. And that's the essence of the book. There's a lot of humor in it, a lot of hijinks involving pirates and raising a child aboard a pirate ship. There's some math, which was a lot of fun to research with my son, who won't read my books, but does teach mathematics.
Okay.
And at the end of it, I said to myself, wait a minute, I've got this little illegitimate mixed race child raised by pirates who's now living in England. What's going to happen to her? And that's how I began writing the next book, which I believe is coming out in June from J'ai Lu. And that is What the Parrot Saw, or in French, it will be titled The Pirate's Daughter. And that's about what happened to this little girl when she grew up. She became a pirate, of course. So I've been thrilled to be published in France because it has opened up an entire, literally, an entire world of readers. My same son, who's the math teacher, took French in college and in high school. And I said, why French, not Spanish? Because we live in Florida. And he said, French is spoken in more countries around the world than any other language, with the possible exception of English. He said it's spoken in Southeast Asia and Vietnam. It's spoken in Africa. It's in Canada. It's in the Caribbean. And of course, it's throughout Europe. So I'm thrilled now to have a whole new world of French readers. And thank you to my readers in France who are watching this now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Darlene. And well, I think that we pretty much went on all the subjects we wanted to talk about. Oh, you have a dog, Anne, also.
Yeah, that's Millie. Yeah, she always comes up to say hello here because she thinks, well, you're not doing anything. You might as well have a dog.
Yeah. Is there a bird in the background that I could hear at your place?
Oh, probably. There's quite a few. I'm quite in a city, but we've got a lot of native trees and bushes around, and they're full of birds.
Oh, so I'm hearing a lot of unusual birder.
Yeah. Well, they're Australian. So they're always different. So, yeah. And also, it's a little bit quiet at the moment because Easter moves into school holidays, and it's for us. It's because it's autumn. It's the last good weather of before winter, and so a lot of people take some of their holidays at this time and head for the beach. Okay. So I've got kids on this side, kids on that side, can't hear a thing. So they've all gone away for the holidays. So yeah, so the birds are back. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So thank you very much for attending this new way of doing a festival. It's a first for us. So well, hopefully it will turn out.
Thank you, Agnes.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I'm sorry to cause the delay that I did.
Thank you all, and well, hopefully we'll see you next year or the year after in France.
I keep promising Fabiola that I will come, and then things happen. So, yeah.
I'm planning on it.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll all meet there in a couple of years.
That would be lovely.
So, bye, everybody.